Today we're going to be making some delicious Moroccan style kebabs using a spice blend called Ras el Hanout from a previous video. If you need to know how to make this spice blend, I'll have the video link right here. We're also going to be pairing these kebabs with a delicious fresh tabouleh salad using tons of fresh herbs and vegetables. We're going to be also making this tabouleh salad with some small changes from the traditional one. Instead of using bulgur wheat, we're going to opt to use quinoa and hemp hearts instead. This is going to provide some additional nutrition and be a very delicious alternative to bulgur wheat, which I normally don't have around the house anyway. But I usually do have quinoa and I do have hemp hearts. And I find this is a great substitute that gets almost exactly the same thing we're looking for. To pair our salad and our kebabs, we're also going to have a mint yogurt sauce that's going to have a nice sprinkle of our spice blend in it as well. So let's go ahead and get started on our salad. So we got a big pile of herbs here. We have one bunch of cilantro, one bunch of parsley, and a bunch of mint. First thing is we're going to start taking all of the leaves off of the mint one by one, making sure not to include any of the stems in there. Mint stems are quite woody and bitter. Next, after that, we'll do the parsley stems. With the parsley leaves, you can be a little bit more rough with them, and if a few stems make it in there, it's not a big deal. It'll still be delicious. And then once we're done getting all of the leaves off, we'll start and go ahead and give our mint a nice quick rough chop. Once we're done chopping up the mint, we're going to want to divide it into 3 separate piles. And a third of this is going to go into our sauce. A third of this is going to go into our tabouleh salad. And the last third is going to get mixed into our meat mixture for the kebabs. Next, let's go ahead and chop up the rest of our herbs and roll them into a nice tight ball here, like you see me doing. And just start giving that a rough chop with the cilantro and parsley all combined here. Don't worry about getting any of the cilantro stems in there. Cilantro stems are packed full of flavor and it's just less wasteful if you include them in the recipe. And once it's all finely chopped up, we're gonna go ahead and split that into 2 separate portions. Just a small handful is gonna get used in our meat mixture, so you can throw that in our big bowl for our kebabs. And the rest of that is going to get put into our bowl for our tabouleh salad. And we can go ahead and add one of those extra portions of mint into our tabouleh salad and make sure we save that last portion for our mint yogurt sauce. Next, let's move on to the garlic. Using the back of our knife, we're going to give the garlic a good squish, and that's going to help take the peels off a lot easier. From there, we're just going to give it a rough chop and break up that garlic into a little bit of a rough dice. When we get to here, we're going to add some salt. And that salt is going to act like sandpaper, and it's going to help break it up a lot easier. And once it's pretty diced up, we're going to use the back of our knife and start squishing the garlic into the cutting board. This is going to make the garlic turn into a nice fine paste. Those salt crystals each past the knife are going to get driven deeper into the garlic, really breaking it up. And once that's really nice fine mixture, we're going to go ahead and just save about a small portion of that off to the side, of maybe about a clove's worth. And that's going to be for our salad dressing. The rest of the garlic is going to go into our kebab mixture. Now let's work on our kebabs. We're going to add 2 eggs to our herbs and garlic. From there, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 2 teaspoons of our Ras el Hanout mixture. Give that a good solid mix with your hands, get it all mixed up, and let's go ahead and add our beef to that mixture. We're using 2 pounds of ground beef here, and get that well incorporated so all of that meat is mixed in well with those spices and salt, and it's nice and flavorful. Now we're going to go ahead and add about 60 grams or a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. You may need to add more if your mixture is too wet. So just go ahead and keep mixing that up. Once you get it formed into a nice ball here, like a ball of dough where it's no longer sticking to the sides, you'll know it's done. And we're just going to go ahead and pop that in the fridge to chill. Now we'll work on our quinoa. Just go ahead and follow the package directions on how to make 1/2 cup quinoa. Just pop it in the fridge afterwards to cool down. Let's work on our tabouleh salad dressing. We're going to add 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a lot of freshly ground black pepper. 1/4 of a lemon worth of zest, and that's going to really bring some nice delicious citrusy flavor. We're going to juice 2 lemons. 1.5 lemons are going to go into our salad dressing. We're going to save 1/2 lemon to use in our mint yogurt sauce. Look how I'm using my hand here as a sieve to squeeze the lemon juice through my hand and catch any of the seeds that may have ended up in the dressing in my hand instead. That's a little hot tip for you guys. Give it a quick stir and just give that a quick taste to make sure that we have the correct amount of salt and acidity in there. You may need to add a little bit more lemon or a little bit more salt. In this case, I added another teaspoon of salt to that. Give these cucumbers a quick dice, nothing fancy here. And we want all of our vegetables to be about uniform size. So the size you cut your cucumbers is the same size you're gonna cut our onions and our tomatoes. Now I'm gonna show you a quicker way to dice an onion. Make sure we leave our root end on and cut the onion in half. The first way is how you could normally dice up an onion, making our 3 cuts. Now, the faster way here is using our knife blade and cutting at diagonal like you're cutting along the hands of a clock. We're gonna cut all the way diagonally up and across the onion. And then after that, we're just gonna do our finishing dice cut. So in total, it only involves 2 sets of cuts rather than the extra set involved in the traditional way. I find it a lot faster. You might not get exactly the same uniform shape, but it saves a little bit of time. Next, for our tomatoes, we're gonna core the tomatoes out so we don't get too much liquid in our salad. So as you see, I cut all the way around the tomatoes and I can scrape out all of the inner liquid quite easily. Make sure not to waste any and trim around the top and cut the end off as well. We're gonna get rid of that middle portion with all of the excess liquid in it. Now just go ahead and give that a rough dice. Now this tabouleh salad, you can make this with a bunch of different vegetables or less vegetables if you want. Sometimes you can add just tomatoes or just onions. So once we got all our vegetables cut up, let's go ahead and add all of our leftover herbs to that. Let's finish off our salad. Go ahead and add our cooled quinoa to all of our vegetables and herbs. Here's where we're gonna add some hemp hearts, a nice sprinkle in there. Let's go ahead and give that a mix. The best part about those hemp hearts, hemp has a full amino acid profile, also contains omega-3s, which makes it one of the closest alternatives to meat protein. So yeah, hemp is a nutritional powerhouse. So this is gonna add a lot of extra nutrition. For our sauce, add the remaining mint, the remaining lemon, and about 1 full cup of plain yogurt to that. Give it a quick mix, and we're gonna add just a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, a sprinkle of black pepper, and a sprinkle of salt. And we're also gonna add a little sprinkle of our Ras el Hanout mixture. Give it another quick mix, and once again, we're gonna give that a quick taste, making sure we got our acidity levels good and our salt levels good. Time to shape our kebabs. We're looking to get a small ball here, a little bit bigger than a golf ball. Give it a quick roll around in your hands just to make it hold its shape a bit better. Slide our skewer through, and now we're gonna use our hands and we're gonna do a combination of squeezing and squishing the meat with the palms of our hands onto the stick and rolling it to help keep its shape uniform. And we're just gonna keep squeezing and rolling until we get this nice shape of the kebab that we're looking for. See this squeezing motion? You'll see this motion that's used quite a bit in different shaping techniques around the world. This is the same type of hand motion that you'll see grandmas in China using to make dumplings and things like that as well. So once we get all of our kebabs done, let's head down to the grill. Make sure your grill is preheated. We're gonna cook these on high heat. Lay them all out on the grill, making sure to turn them every 30 to 45 seconds. Looking to get a nice sear on those. Once they're seared on all sides, they should be done if your barbecue is nice and hot, as these are quite thin and aren't gonna take very long to cook through. And because they are ground beef with breadcrumbs and everything like that, it's okay if you overcook them a little bit. So now let's go ahead and plate this up. We have our sauce, we got our kebabs, and we got our tabouleh salad. Go ahead and put a big portion of tabouleh onto our plate here. Add a couple kebabs. A nice splash of our yogurt sauce. And this is just an incredibly nutrient-dense, delicious, Middle Eastern-inspired meal that's guaranteed to impress.